Hey Chase, it's Dr. Scott. Has some feedback for you on your Essay 2 draft. Just as a quick reminder, what I'm looking for in the Essay 2 revision are your thesis statement, that it's focused, that it's specific, you've got an argument, something that's debatable about two flood wall murals, that you have strong reasons to support that thesis statement, so like the paragraphs are clearly helping you back up that thesis statement. I'm also looking for use of supporting details, so in those paragraphs, you're making like a smaller claim to help support your thesis, and you've got good details from the murals to back up what you have to say. I'm also looking at organization and transitions and paraphrases, but I think right now for where you're at, I think we need to talk about the thesis statement and we need to talk about supporting details. I had a hard time kind of figuring out what exactly you thought the two murals were trying to say about the town. I see the title of the essay is Growth. I also see later on in the essay you have Busy and Lively, the city had once been, but I felt like that was more about Chillicothe Street. So it kind of felt like you had one argument about the 1937 flood mural, and then you had another argument about the 1940s mural, the Chillicothe Street mural. And your thesis statement should kind of bring the two together. I do think there's a word here that might be something that kind of ties things together. Like when I look at this looks like this is what your paragraphs are going to be about. It'll be a paragraph about color, another about perspective, and another about resilience. But I'm wondering if resilience is really kind of the thing that ties everything together. So like the color in both murals show how resilient or strong the town is, and they do that by depicting something really awful that the town went through, but also depicting the brightness of the colors in the Chillicothe Street mural shows the bounce back. Resilience. You deal with adversity, and then you kind of bounce back. So the thesis statement for me, it seems like you're trying to, like, all of this is an attempt at a thesis statement, and that's fine for a draft. The revision needs to be much more focused, and it needs to be much more clear what it is you're trying to argue with these two murals. So once that I think is like the big, like the very important next step. All right, sorry about that. I got a phone call. So once we get into the body paragraph, so the thesis statement, again, that's kind of like the big next step for you to take. Then we get into what are the body paragraphs about. I think color is absolutely something that you want to talk about. You should have kind of an argument about what color is trying to accomplish in terms of resilience, or in terms of whatever your argument is. Right now I just kind of see a paragraph that's about, here's how I see color working in different ways in these two murals. And I think you make some interesting points about how lightness and darkness is used in the murals. I think that's kind of interesting. Right now, though, it's not clear how this relates to the thesis statement. And of course it doesn't, because it doesn't seem like the thesis statement is kind of figured out at this point. So kind of figuring out what it is you're arguing overall, and then making it really kind of clear how this paragraph about color helps support that overall argument. Later, some more feedback that I can give you, like in this paragraph, is that you tell me about things that you observe in the mural, but you don't, not often enough do you get in there and you kind of say, okay, let me give you an example right quick. The boat on the flood water emphasizes that there's no one in sight, and it gives a feeling that there's no sound, and it was very eerie. Like, I totally agree with you. There isn't anything that gives off sound in the mural. So I think, like, kind of getting in there and describing, like, the water that's kind of reflecting the surface. We have that boat that is directly in the middle. There's kind of no one else near that rower. We don't see them kind of close up. We're just kind of all of these buildings and the water. The emphasis is there, but we're reminded that there's somebody there in the middle. I think getting in there and describing a bit more of the detail, I think that would definitely help here. The thing that what you then need to do, once you have a little bit more detail into the paragraphs, is to explain how that detail supports your thesis statement. And again, it sounds like you're trying to kind of figure out where the argument is going. I think resilience is a good idea. There's others, like togetherness, toughness, that the town is supportive of people, wherever you're going with the overall argument in the paper, you need to explain how the details help support that argument. So right now I see you're writing about color, and you're kind of saying some things about color and what it might say about the town, but it needs to all kind of be going in the same direction, and the thesis statement is the direction that you give it. Okay, so in the 1940s mural, yeah, you're totally right. Like it's much brighter. There's a lot of contrast there. Again, you want to think about what that contrast kind of says about the town. It seems like when we get to here, you kind of like ran out of things to say, and we're into talking about where Portsmouth is now. This might be relevant for a conclusion paragraph or an introductory paragraph. In a body paragraph, it really doesn't work all that well. And also the same feedback about using details from the murals. You tell us that there's dark outside because it's nighttime. You tell us that there's bright lights in the city, but you don't get in there and you actually describe it. So I think more description is also needed. And again, that feedback that I gave you about how to discuss that description, that's really important too. Give us a detail from the mural and then explain how that detail helps support your thesis statement. All right, Chase, you have a ways to go, and I know that this is a tough assignment, so don't get too bummed out. I think that you have a good first shot here, but we need to figure out where the argument is going and then make sure that the writing that you have is all supporting that argument. Let me know if you'd like to chat about this. There'll be time on Thursday for you to kind of ask me questions, and we can also chat later this week or early next week. All right, that's it for now.